Welcome to a live stream. I have a lot to talk, well, not really a lot to talk about. I just want to talk, and I guess this is a time to talk. So I hope you all are doing well. Hope you all are having a wonderful day. So it is early in the morning. It's early in the morning, 11:07, almost the afternoon. I want to just talk about stuff, but first, let me give you an health update. No, a health update, because I have not mentioned it in such a long time. So, when it comes to a lot of my um, lymph nodes, I still have them. Still have them. A lot of those sores by my earlobes, still had them for a year. What else? That spot on my chest, still have it. What else? I'm trying to think. I would say that um, things are still problematic in my mouth. I have that weird lump on my palate still. I think I still have those tiny little pointy things under my tongue. But worst of all, I still have my abscess. No, I think I have two. When I feel them, there is two. One is extremely tiny, and close to it is like a bigger one. You can feel it, and you squeeze that one, especially that one. You can squeeze the small one, but like you'll feel um, slight strangeness, but also it's connected to the big one in some way, and the small one is the size of a tiny pimple. The big one is the size of a giant pimple. The more you squeeze the big one, underneath the big abscess a small hole appeared, and that's where the pus bubble appears. So it's filled with pus, and once you press the abscess below at a weak point, the bubble will form, and then it'll pop, and then it'll reform again. Okay, okay, I want to point that out. It will reform again, and there are times where I will just look in the mirror and all of a sudden the lump is so big, or I feel it with my tongue and it's so big. Um, so that's the problem. And yeah, I still have that. So yeah, I have a bonbon, and I'm gonna eat this just now, but let's talk about some stuff. Last night, I think it took over an entire hour, and I wrote a script. I wish I had the script to show you, but I can't show it to you because it's on my phone, and I can't leave this live stream. Um, but I have it, and it was extremely long. Like, I kid you not, I've written so much on this script. A lot of mistakes, I assume I was just typing so fast, and I'm surprised it was somewhat acceptable. And now I'm thinking I can't do this script because I feel like it's too much. I had a feeling I'll say something like that. So I wrote an entire hello, hi, hi, how are you? Anyways, as I was saying, I wrote this script, and it was supposed to be for a video where I talk about stuff. I use my real voice, not the TikTok AI voice, but use my real voice. And it's been a while. Oh yeah, it's been a while since I've seen you. I hope you're doing well. And the one thing about writing scripts is sometimes it's great, sometimes it isn't. And when it came to my Daily Wire videos, I wrote scripts and it was fine. Oh, that's awesome. It's good to know that you're well. So when it came to my um, videos on, like, well, my other videos, my previous video I've made trans positivity, that video wasn't a script. I just went along as I looked at the clips, I think, and I just thought about certain stuff. Overall, those clips I've used in my previous video are not trans women. They are biological women. I found a bunch of those clips on the Power Director, which is the editing software I use. I found a bunch of those clips for free on on a specific tab called Pexel. Now, Pexel is this free to use footage company, so you can use all the footage for free. That's awesome. That's really awesome. You can contribute to a specific creator if you want to, but it is free. It's free to use, so that's awesome. That really is awesome. They may not have as much compared to Shutterstock, because I was going to use Shutterstock, and then all of a sudden I was it with the price, because when it came to the prices, it was really expensive, and it's like, really, I must pay so much for a couple of clips? No thanks. Um, and that's the thing. Pixel was just one of the good ones that allowed me to use this footage. So that's awesome. That's really awesome. And I hope that video really showed a bit of that. Even the thumbnail of this video, I think, is from Pixel. So yeah, um, I hope that video really spreads out. Back in 2019, I did a trans positivity video, which um, it was an okay video. I don't know how well it did. I don't think it even reached a thousand views. So that's interesting. Now, when it comes to making content, trans content. I was writing a script for something to do with trans content, and now I'm just ditching the script because I have to be honest with you. I feel like it was just too long, too pointless, and I think I should just have like regular commentary and just go from there. I think that would be amazing. That would be really amazing. That's just one thing I want to do. So there's that. And I just really, you know, love making trans content. I really do. It's weird because on one hand, I'm very conservative, of course, and um, also I'm somewhat, I would say somewhat pro trans, because because there's something sometimes I'm like, okay, this is going too far or that's going too far. So yeah, I guess okay, what rights do troons not have? Exactly. Exactly. Um, exactly. Um, so yeah, a lot of rights we have, and especially in Western countries, especially in Western countries, it's just so much of days and celebration. But I think that any day, at this point, any day you can celebrate trans people, any day, because there are so many days where it's all about rainbows and all that stuff. It's not just a month anymore, it's everything. So so I just think you can celebrate it any day, because it's not going to change anything at this point, because people celebrate all the stuff anytime now, because there's so many days. Just recently we had Trans Visibility Day, which I'm surprised is a thing. Like, I'm just wondering, like, do we need at least that day? I mean, we can be visible any part of the year. Lol, on Easter Day, exactly. It fell on that Easter this year, and um, caused a lot of controversy. Caused a lot of controversy, and that's just so bizarre now. A lot of these politicians will just post about trans stuff, and that's it, because I feel like that's just the most important thing right now. And some of these politicians are basically cosplaying as Christians or other religious backgrounds, and just cosplay as it, because it seems to me that they're not truthful to their religion. They just use it as a way to gain votes. Yeah, and that's the thing about just trans stuff. I like creating trans characters. I like that. It's really good that I can create stuff like that. But at the same time, I don't really do it because of like, what's the word? I don't do it because I want to get a bunch of likes. because at the end of the day, I want to entertain people, a lot of people. So, for example, I want to write a bunch of trans characters in novels. Now, will that ever come? Because anytime I mention I'm going to do something, it doesn't really work. But over time, I'm guessing, or maybe now after this live stream is over, I'll start working on some characters I've been working with for some time. I'll write a couple of stuff, but the thing is that at the end of the day, I just think these characters can exist, and I think I can write them. And speaking of writing, I also want to create a lot of these different types of characters that don't look like me. In modern times, you have to always write a character now that looks like you. I don't like that because it censors creativity. It blocks us to just be creative. It makes us less creative. So I want to create characters from different backgrounds and uh, try to be a bit complex about it. And doesn't matter if I'm not black, I'll still write a black character or whatever. I think I think that's what is needed is authentic diversity. These days it's mostly segregated diversity. That's what Hollywood is pushing. I'm just not a fan of it at all. Um, okay. Aren't you black? I'm not black. I'm not black. I am not black. Um, I'm not. So my family background actually comes from India. So yeah, I'm technically, um, well, I'm just full on Indian, but I don't think I can call myself that as a South African because Indian is basically a term for people of India. So yeah, but my family background, my family history is from India. It's from India. It's connected to India. It's all Indian. So yeah, but I still think I can create black characters. I'm not black. I can create it. I still will create it. I just don't want I just don't want to feel like I can't now because a bunch of people might think you can't because of your race. Um, because what's happening in Hollywood right now is you have to write, or not just Hollywood, but in certain spaces, you're told just to write in your own lane. You're not allowed to write other characters. But then all of a sudden, the same people will turn around and complain about no diversity. And I'm not going to be getting those characters censored because these days, when it comes to sensitivity readers, they're everywhere. And I'm sure at one point I might have to use one of their services, not to censor my work, because sometimes sensitivity readers can also be, what's the term? Um, Basically, they can really help with just, editing your work, like correcting sentences, making your English a bit better. They can help with that. Sometimes some of these sensitivity readers do multiple jobs, like they might do illustrations, they might do all these other things. And sometimes, somehow I might have to use one of their services, but I won't use the sensitivity part. I'll have to be very abrasive about that because I don't want my characters to be stereotypes at times. There's nothing wrong with writing stereotype characters, but I think when it comes to sensitivity readers, it's that it's that you have to now make them fit in this box rather than just doing anything else with the characters. It also censors a lot of gendered terms. I'm not a fan of censoring gendered terms. I think gendered terms are normal. You know, I think it's normal, and I'm not gonna censor it. It's not offensive. Last year when they came for what's the guy's name? I'm not sure if I'll pronounce it properly. Roald Dahl, I think that's how you pronounce his name. Last year when they came after his books, they basically changed a lot of stuff, and you can tell that a lot of these people, a lot of the people who basically uh, helped in basically sanitizing his work, they all possibly come from a very progressive environment, and that's all they could ever talk about is just progressive stuff. They can't see anything outside of that, and that's the thing now. It's like they're perfectly fine with pushing their agenda on other people's work, a dead man's work, but but it seems to me that they won't be able to create their own works for some reason. They should create their own works because that's the beauty about the present. Okay, I'm not a fan of a lot of people's work, but at the same time, I have the power to create whatever I want it to be. And these people also have the power. They can create as many trans, black, non binary characters, and they have an audience for that. And yes, there is a majority, uh, like just people, regular people, normies who will just read stuff like that and just think about it as that being the norm. Um, so you have an audience. You have an audience. Um, I just don't want my work to be censored. I don't. I'm not writing racial slurs. I'm not writing all this type of stuff. And the thing is that they're not censoring just racial slurs. A lot of the sensitivity readers they change gendered stuff because we can't say men, we can't say women, we can't say all these things, or we can't say girls or females. So a lot of those words are censored, and that's just the problem. It's like what's the point now? Just create your own works. Create your own works and that's it. Put a warning or something on the books. That's better than censoring the work because if you put a warning, then okay, some people aren't going to handle it. That's it. I think for the book, uh, I think the book Gone with the Wind or something like that, something from the past, a book. I think it's called Gone with the Wind. Or, I can't remember, and it has to do with um, the the I don't know. I'm not sure now. I don't want to sound ignorant, but from what I've heard, it's like past time America and Civil War type of stuff. So there's that, and I think they put a warning. The sensitivity readers put a warning over that book instead of changing everything because they couldn't even change anything. So they just put a warning on it, and I think that's good. Put a warning on it instead, so that way certain people will find it offensive won't read it, and they'll find something else that's worth their time because it's better now just to put these warnings and say, okay, this is gonna be what book again? I think it's Gone with the Wind. I think it's the book. Yeah, there's a movie of it too, but I think it's called Gone with the Wind. I think. I really hope I'm correct because because I did so little research. I wish I did more research. I don't want to sound like someone who's just so silly, but yeah, it's one of those type of books from the past, and there are some characters that today people will call offensive, and just put a warning on it, and that's it. That's what they need to do for all these books if they find it offensive, because rewriting it isn't going to change anything. Even in the past, they did some rewrites too, and I don't stand for that. I don't stand for that because it's just censorship. There's this other author, I forgot her name. I was recently looking into some of her works. I'm sure some people may have heard of the title, The Famous Five. This is a book series, a really big book series, and this was written by an author who passed long ago, and I think she also created Noddy. You know that character, the cartoon character. I'm sure some of you guys may have watched the cartoon. Well, she created the Noddy character, and um, wow, even that too was censored back in the day. That was censored. Um, and from what I've heard, the famous five book has been a bit halted in the past. Then they brought the regular editions back, and I think they recensored it. So they took out a bunch of stuff, and a lot of people just hate her. A lot of people hate this author because our works was just not like something they would want to digest, you know. And the thing is that when it comes to modern times, all I say is create your own work, and that's just it. There's no point in trying to change the past because it happened. The past happened. The books were written. People wrote books in that way. People characterized certain people with those features in that way. There are a lot of those cartoons, old Looney Tunes, old Disney cartoons that have those stereotypes, these ugly stereotypes. Trying to change that, the past isn't going to fix it. Isn't going to fix anything. It basically shields the past from any type of criticism. It paints the past as like, okay, this was a perfect time. It wasn't. Nor is the present perfect. Nor is the present perfect. But the thing is that we have to be creative today. Okay, we learn from the past to be creative today. So yeah, writing books with trans characters, black characters, and lesbian characters. I can do that. I've had like thousands of ideas. Well, not really thousands, but I've been mentioning some of them for years. Some of them never got into manifestation because I need a good computer. Because some of them require really good computers, and those aren't storybooks. Those were like game ideas. So I had some interesting ideas, concepts back in the day, and I just can't do anything because I don't have a good computer. And the time I had like a somewhat decent laptop, I just frivoled away time and it broke the year later. So I'm just gonna focus on those type of content. I know there are people who would love stuff like that, but when it comes to my trans characters, I think I need to be a bit more than just trying to, like make the characters feel like the character can only relate. The characters can only relate to a few people. I think like maybe certain beliefs, certain feelings they can, but I also want them to have universal traits where anyone can relate to them, and that's going to be the most interesting part. I just love creating characters. I really wish I wasn't so lazy or I wasn't so distracted to create stuff. I just love creating characters. And I also worry about, let's just say I publish a bunch of trans books. Will they ever be adapted on the big screen or just on a streaming service? Don't know. Don't really know. I don't trust a lot of modern Hollywood. I really don't. I can't trust them. I'm sure there are some good people, Maybe back in the day, I used to just think everyone in Hollywood is bad, but that's not true. There are a lot of good people in Hollywood, and there are a lot of bad people in Hollywood. It's just that some people, the bad people, have more influence, so they get to dictate everything. There's a reason why everything is so woke now, and sometimes some of the people at Hollywood will use wokeness as a shield, and sometimes the people will just be really into wokeness, and that's why there's so much wokeness. It isn't just it isn't just a shield for some people. For some people, it's something they truly believe in, and they'll stop at nothing to continue to push wokeness. But that's the thing about wokeness. You can get inspired by it to create better things. Wokeness is just it seems so silly. And anytime I see like these characters, I always think to myself, I can create better characters than this. Anyways, my voice hurts so much. um, so what else can I talk about? Hmm. I wish I can talk about more stuff. I really don't know what else to talk about. I'm trying to think about stuff to talk about. I don't want to talk about too much dark stuff or political stuff, but um, let's talk about what exactly. I don't know. So okay, yeah. Going back to my first topic of today, which was trans stuff. Hi, hello, hi, hi. How are you? I was talking about trans stuff, and I mentioned that I wrote a script. So this entire script was written, um, I'm on my alt account. My messages aren't coming through. Um, oh, sorry. I think I think I possibly skipped a couple. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I think I skipped a couple because maybe because I glossed over them. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I am recording on my phone, so sometimes certain stuff is going to be blocked. There's a small bar just for comments, so I apologize. And here's the thing, I have like more ideas for scripted stuff, but then I think it's best. No, 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 it's not like that. It doesn't just come through. Oh, that's the problem. I can see your comments now. I can see it. I can see um, with this account, I can see it. So um, that's very weird. Sometimes when I would go on certain premiering videos, um, I would comment for such a long time, and then all of a sudden I won't be able to comment anymore. I think that's a glitch. I'm not sure if that's. I'm not sure if um I'm not sure if other things are also happening. Like maybe it could also be my phone sometimes. I think, but I'm sure it's YouTube because YouTube is glitching at times. Sometimes YouTube would do the weirdest glitches. It's so bizarre. And I hope they fix the comment section for live streams and premiering videos. Could be YouTube. So you said you make games. I wanted to. I really wanted to make a couple games. I had a bunch of ideas, and it's just I don't have a good computer. So I still am keeping those ideas, and with each passing year, those ideas get better and better. So they basically started off. What engine do you have in mind? At first, I was just going to make a simple visual novel, and then I thought I'll just expand and use other engines for like complex games. So uh, there are ones like that are completely free, and there are ones that um, are not so free. They may have a plan, like I think it's called Game Maker 2 or Game Maker Studio 2. I forgot the name of it. It's for like 2D type games. And the reason why I want to use that is because it also has a Nintendo Switch connection. So Ren'Py is popular. I was going to use Ren'Py for my visual novels, but then I'm thinking about, taking the same visual novel ideas and at least, you know, maybe make it a bit different, change it a bit. I'm still thinking whether some of my ideas that once started off as just visual novel concepts, I'm thinking if I should either keep it that way or move it to maybe make it into like a possible free roam game or something like that, but with 2D graphics. But Ren'Py was going to be my main choice. I'm not sure if Ren'Py has like Nintendo Switch support. That's the thing, because I want to put games on the Switch, and I want to put games on PC. It will really help to build revenue. Not only that, but I think that would be perfect. That way, on the Switch, I can earn something, and it's fun. A lot of people can play it, and on PC they can. And for the PC games too, I don't want to make the games where you require multiple upgrades of your PC. I want the games to feel like even if you have a moderate PC that's good for some games, I want that type of PC to be able to play. I'm not good with coding. I supposed to be learning a bit, but then I just gave up. I was learning with Ren'Py. I used Ren'Py and I was learning just a bit of that. I was learning that type of code, Python. And after that, I don't know what happened, but I was learning just a bit of it. I do have an app. I do have a app. I'm not sure if it's Python or anything else, but I want to just learn as I work with small projects and then apply that knowledge to bigger projects, to main projects, to important projects. but I think that it's best just to start off with small games, and in the background, I'll keep practicing to focus on bigger games, and then when my games feel polished enough, I think I can finally transfer the games to console and PC. I have so many ideas from um, from just action to horror, and I feel like horror is just something I like. I always like horror. It's really awesome. It's really awesome. So yeah, I think I'll need to like research the best PC. Years ago, I was thinking of getting this gaming tablet. I mean, gaming computer. Gaming computer. No, it was a gaming laptop. Sorry, it was a gaming laptop. I think I still have the video up on the channel. I was so excited about saving up for it, and then I just never got it. I just never got it. Never got it. Um, and I'm glad I never did, because sometimes with gaming computers, the battery is a bit slow, or not slow. It's a bit like fast paced. It just runs so quickly. But on the plus side, gaming computers, they can render things pretty fast. I think maybe I should get a gaming PC that's with good battery, but I don't want something that will eat power so much because I need to continuously plug it in. But I think right now it's best to start off with a computer that I can work with moderate games, just like moderate stuff, 2D, slightly 3D stuff, maybe something with 8 gigabytes of RAM. I don't want my games to be like needing like 50 gigs of space. I want them to be small, but if they can be small, if the game is full with content, then I guess it has to be a bit big. But I'll try to use different styles just to make the assets, especially 3D assets. If I ever get to use 3D assets in the future, I'll try to make sure that it looks good, but it doesn't really eat so much space. That's a big problem with a lot of um, modern gaming. Gaming just eats up your space. It eats up everything, and I want to make games that are fun, that can fit on PC and a Nintendo Switch. I'm not sure when the next Nintendo console will come out, but I really hope it does, because I think that's a very much friendly console for what's the term? I forgot the term for indie developers. Also, Xbox. Xbox is also a good place, but I'm not sure what games they will allow. I'm not sure. But I think those two consoles be good just for like small projects. And when you look at those consoles, you can exactly know what type of games you want to put on them, what type of audience you want. I think that's really interesting. Um, I think it's best to at least plan ahead and think about spreading different content on different platforms. That way, let's just say if something happens to my Nintendo account, then it would be all right because I still have Xbox PC. So it's good to at least have multiple nests for my video games. Um, anyways, as I was saying, I have a lot of ideas. Never really got them out there, but as the years progressed, some of those ideas, especially the ideas that needed a lot more, a lot more time, they really aged well. And I realized that I'm glad I never rushed ahead of time, because the story would have been so terrible. So sometimes you are just pushed down, and you may think it's for the wrong reasons, but then you realize it's for the right reasons, because now you get to grow your story, and when you finally think it's good enough, you can finally post it. Now I also have comic book ideas, and comic book ideas, plenty of them. The only thing is that I always need a good publishing place, and I want to publish not just like thin books, but I want to publish like books like this size, comic books that size, or maybe slightly shorter, but you know, I want it to be like a book, more like a novel in that size, in that shape, because I can tell so much with so less. I mean, well, technically, it's not so less, but let's just say, if I write a book, a comic book, that's, let's just say, around like 331 pages, and the entire series could be in that specific size, 331 pages. Instead of me printing small versions, like small thin comic books, I'll be able to tell a longer story, and I'll be able to make the audience keep track of the books. Now, I'm not saying that I will always do this, because there are some comic book ideas or storybook ideas that I might at least expand to even 20 books, which might be crazy. But that's something I'm still thinking about. So yeah, and it's going to be a really interesting situation when it comes to creating comics, because because I want to create different type of comics, not just like not just only superhero. I have a couple of superhero ideas, really good ones, but sometimes I want to at least maybe turn it into a novel instead, because the story may be so long. But when it comes to comic books, only a few comic books I have ideas of, and one of them is more action. One of them um, is a superhero, or maybe two. I don't know. I feel like it's something that can jump. If you want to buy these computers, you are going to need money. Are you still neat? Wait, what does neat mean? I'm sorry, I don't know. But yes, I'm going to need a lot of money. In my country, things are very expensive. Things are extremely expensive, even for something so decent. If I'm going to build my PC, that's more expensive than buying just a laptop, a pre-built laptop, because or a pre-built PC, because for some reason, not in education and employment. Yeah, that 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 neat, still neat, still neat. So I'm planning to at least write a couple of books, publish them just a bit, and earn something, and then I'll take that, build up build up everything, basically. Build up my gaming strategy, build up um, the comic book stuff, because when it comes to comic books, I'll need to have like um, a bunch of paper, a bunch of paper. That's what I need. I'll be needing so much paper. I want to use paper mostly because I don't want to stare at the screen all day. I can't stare at the screen all day. My eyesight is practically ruined because I'm staring at the screen so long. I need glasses just so I can even take a test, a driver's test. So I want to draw on paper. That way my eyesight won't be damaged. And then I'll have to scan it. I really hope to color it on paper as well. That way it'll just save me time. I don't want to I don't want to color digitally, because that requires more staring on the computer, and I don't want that. I don't want that. So I'll just find some way to do it all on my own. And over time, I feel like I can build up my small empire, and that's it. That's basically it. That's basically my plan. So yeah, I'll start off with something very basic, which is writing novels. And once I earn enough, I'll still write novels because I still have plenty of ideas. But I will also just start getting a laptop, a good laptop, maybe like mid-range gaming laptop, or something that's close to that won't really eat up so much battery or so much power. And I'll start creating some games. And there we go. So that's that. I also will be saving up for my personal stuff, like my personal health, because for the past year I've been really sick, going to doctors multiple times, to the dentist multiple times. I have to go next week to the dentist for my root canal because I have to go again. It's not draining. My abscess is not draining, so I have to keep going and going and going. That costs a lot of money. So I really want at least, budget my stuff. I don't want to go too overboard with my technology right now because that means if I go too overboard, then I won't have money for myself, for my health. I want to provide for myself because I don't like when other people do that. I feel really hurt. I feel sad because I can earn the money and I can fix myself. I can really fix myself. So that's the plan. Earn enough money, you know, buy a mid-range laptop for now, and then work on the games, work on the books, keep releasing stuff, and keep earning a normal amount, and put some for my health. Just put some money away for my health, and that's it. That's really it. The thing is, with money, I can go really crazy sometimes. When I was young, if I had like just a small note, I needed to spend it for some reason. And looking back, I spent so much of money on pointless things. I wish I never did that. I wish I at least kept all of that money, saved it, did not spend it on stupid things. It's my fault. It is my fault. And living in the present, I have to now fix myself, fix my life, get everything on track. It's gonna take a long time, but I must keep doing it. I must focus on that. That's just that's just what I need to do. So as I was saying, comic books, I want to make at least book size comic books, novels basically. That way I can tell so much more. Because I feel like when it comes to like very thin books, extremely thin comic books, uh, like this type of book, I'm sure you can see it right over there. I have those two Asterix and Obelix books. They're very good books, very thin. But the problem is that some of my books, my comic book ideas, are much more longer than Asterix and Obelix. They have a long story and timeline, so most of them will need to be in a bigger book, just a bigger book. That way, that way I don't have to like squash things within a what do you call it, 100-page limit. Some books have 100-page limits. You can't even do anything with it. If you're telling like a really good story with suspense, and it continues the next novel, I mean the next book, it continues and continues. I don't want people to feel like they're wasting their time with it. That's why I want to make like a really big chunky comic for long stories. It'll be easier to collect if it's a series, and I just think that the amount of pages will really shape my story in a different way. Because if I have to, take a long formed story and cut it down into like 100-page comics, it won't be good. It won't be good at all. I have to like squash certain stuff. It just feels a bit silly. It won't work for me. A story like Asterix and Obelix, I think it does have a continuity, but each book, it feels different. If you read one, it doesn't mean that I need the previous one to understand what's going on. So that's the thing. Those type of stories work with thin comic books, but long story driven continuities, they require thick books, really thick books. And yes, I have a trans superhero for a comic book. I'm just waiting to create a trans superhero. I announced this back in 2019. I was so excited, extremely excited. Um, Now I've, changed my mind on the character, and I still think she's gonna have the same abilities and all the stuff, but background is gonna be slightly different. But yeah, she's gonna be trans. Oh wow. Um, so much trans stuff. Wow. But I don't create it just to get a bunch of likes or subscribers or followers, because the thing is that I'm sure some of the people personally won't really like me. They may like my books, but some of them might cancel me for my opinions on certain stuff. So I'm just fine. If people want to like what they want to like, just a book. And let's just say they disagree with me politically. I guess that's fine. I don't want people to feel afraid that they can't enjoy my works, my comics or novels or video games because of my political ideology. I don't want to make people feel uncomfortable. So I feel like they should be welcomed, but I'm not making trans books just to get some brownie points, because at the end of the day, the people who would give me brownie points are also the people that would take those brownie points away from me and attack me. So all I can say is that, you know what, they can disagree with me, we can disagree with each other, and they can still enjoy my works. They're welcome to enjoy my work. When it comes to creating political content, like just political stories or stories with political backgrounds, I think I can do that. I can really do that. But I don't want to make it so political. For example, pro-life stories. Pro-life stories. Now, some stories in the future, I would love to have like maybe a pro-life message. But the thing is that pro-life isn't just exclusive to right-wingers. It's inclusive. So yeah, I don't like using the term inclusive. I don't like using the term inclusive, but it is inclusive. So there's no need for me to divide people and um, and make people feel weird, and they need to agree with me 100%. No, 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 no. But when it comes to stories like just politics in general, or like having a political message, I don't want to be too on the nose unless it is just about politics. And I feel like if I have a story that's about politics, just about politics, it'll end up being the most goofiest thing ever. I'm just I'm just very welcoming. Years ago I thought about that. I thought about who will ever read my books, and I don't want to discriminate based on politics. If someone disagrees with me on something, they're still welcome to read my books. They're still welcome to. They may hate my guts, but they're still welcome to. They should be still allowed to read my books. Yeah, I think that's just one thing, and that was back in 2020. I realized that this is what I need to do. Is just it's just not really worry about, but specifically who reads my books, because I want many people to read my book, and I don't want to cause division when it comes to reading. If they feel personally they're not comfortable enough to read my books because of my politics, of my home life politics, then you know what? They still have a right not to read my books. They still have a right to read and not read my books. There should always be an option, for stuff like that. Wow. Just yesterday, I had a brilliant idea. Such a brilliant idea. I think it's during the nighttime. Because during the nighttime, anytime I'm like lying on my bed, I get the most bizarre, fun ideas for novels, comic books, video games, cartoons. I get the best ideas ever. And it's so wonderful because at night, I'm the most scatterbrained. And then when I wake up, sometimes I think that I was just too drunk with imagination. There'll be times where I just imagine myself in this different position, and then I wake up and I just reflect on the day before, and I realize that I was just thinking so stupidly. But when it comes to just regular ideas for comics, entertainment in general, those ideas they stick with me because I still think they're great. I think they're great ideas. And yesterday I thought of a really good idea. So it's like every time I think of these good ideas, I just wish I could make them so quickly. But I feel like sometimes these new ideas need a lot of time in the oven, maybe a year in the oven or two or three. I have some ideas I've created way back in 2014 that still need a lot of rewriting because that's going to be like a really long series, and I want it to be long, but I also want it to be interesting. You know, per each book to be interesting. It's going to take some time for me to focus on that because the story is so convoluted. I still can't make it simple. I have to keep it complex. That's just how it is. But some stories will be simple, some stories will be simple, and some stories will be complicated. The reason why I want to make some complicated stories is because it's fun. I know there'll be people who read the books or play the games or whatever, and they'll dive deep into this theories. They'll dive deep into thinking what they believe in it for this book, or they'll need to fill in the gaps, or they need to solve something. I really want to do stuff like that because that really makes engagement of fans um, really wow. Oh no, that sentence did not sound right. That really encourages engagement with fans. There you go. I said it properly. Anyways, thank you so much for watching this video. My throat really hurts. Have a wonderful Saturday. Bye.